How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? You'd be like, whoa, did he crack today? Is there something going on with him mentally? No, I'm just a modern gamer, boys. I just consume anything thrown at me. Now, about a couple years ago, I saw this trailer for a game that I was a little bit excited for. You might have heard of the name Marathon. Ooh! Now, if you ever heard of the name Marathon and you're as old as me, you'd probably realize that the entire series began in 1994. Yeah, the day that my dad's sperm included me in the roster, and I was fired off into reality land, okay? That's when this game franchise was actually here, okay? In fact, I would say that Marathon 2 Durandal, pretty good game. Marathon Infinity, great title itself. Between 1994 and 1996 is when this franchise was rocking. So, pretty much at the time of me effectively breastfeeding, okay, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's when Marathon started, okay? So, conveniently, in like the last couple of years, Bungie decided to bring back this long-dead franchise. Now, Marathon, for anybody that doesn't know, it was like an original, like, actual single-player first-person shooter. I would say that it was about as influential as Doom, as many other games, okay? Like, some would say that this was probably Halo before Halo, right? There's a pretty good retrospective video on it on YouTube. There's a lot of gameplay that you can watch, and if you haven't played these games, they're literally available for free. In fact, there are actually fan patches that you can download right now on most modern hardware and play it for free right now. You don't even have to buy this game, okay? You can just experience super awesome mid-90s single-player shooter action right here, ready to go, okay? So if you're a fan of old school Doom, if you're a fan of old school video games, I highly recommend you play Marathon, okay? Absolutely. If you've got an Apple Bandai Pippin somewhere sitting around, okay, for the 4 people watching, you can probably play some Super Marathon on there. So I actually ended up playing Marathon, not because like I was born around this time. Dude, I was like 2. I didn't know. So after I played through like the Halo franchise, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to see what Bungie's all about. And I absolutely enjoyed and loved Marathon. I thought, God damn, if there's any sign to show you that Halo was going to be great, you would just play this franchise and pretty much understand. So when I found out at E3, whoa, buddy, they're releasing Marathon again? Oh my God, a Sony exclusive game? Maybe this is going to be a pretty awesome single-player experience. Maybe it's going to be, a little bit of multiplayer thrown in. Maybe it's just going to be like a revitalization. Maybe it's going to be like Halo. Until I found out, oh shit, this is a new team-based FPS extraction shooter from the creators of Halo and Destiny. Okay. Now, I'm not somebody that's against extraction shooters. I get it. For a lot of people, that's what the most popular game is these days. It's not that I'm so old that I haven't played an extraction shooter. I would say that if you've ever played extraction stuff, probably play like Division 1 or 2, okay? One of my favorite series from Ubisoft, of course, is The Division, okay? I thought it was a pretty fun, cooperative, open-world MMO experience, and it kind of popularized the whole idea of extraction shooting. You go into a place called the Dark Zone. It's a PvPvE location where you basically grab loot, you take it to an entire area to be decontaminated, extracted, and yeah, that's just how you would actually play the game. It was an interesting, pulse-pounding experience. If you got a couple friends, probably an amazing way to spend your Friday night, okay? Now, since then, extraction shooters, I would say, kind of have popularized because of games like Escape from Tarkov, okay? But Marathon's here to kind of take that fucking claim. Now, I've been very, very open-minded, okay? I thought maybe this might be the one extraction shooter that I'm all about. So going to their website, the entire story here is: a massive ghost ship hangs in low orbit over a lost colony on Tau City 4. The 30,000 souls who call this place home have disappeared without a trace. Strange signals hinted mysterious artifacts, long dormant AI, and troves of untold riches. You are a runner, venturing into the unknown in a fight for fame and infamy. Who among you will write their names amongst the stars, okay? Yeah, whoever's winning, I guess, on the leaderboard, all right? God damn. Now, one thing you probably notice about this is the art style. It looks genuinely, like, pastelish, interesting. I would say the closest thing to Marathon reminds me of playing games like Mirror's Edge. So I'm not really even against the art style. I think it's kind of cool. It's got that simplistic, minimalist vibe, which I think pretty much helps it in the sense of it being an extraction shooter where, again, because competition is the name of the game, things being so visible and understanding is all you basically need, okay? Forget all the visual flares. You just need things to be readable, okay? So you're playing a video game and everything just looks to be viewable, right? Like everything actually makes sense in the context of a massive gunfight. Now, when I saw the trailer over here, ladies and gentlemen, all of that completely reminded me of why this game, in my opinion, will be pretty fucking dead on arrival. So, alright, here's the actual gameplay, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a cut together of footage. If you're looking very carefully at it, one thing that should pretty much become apparent if any of you have played Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, which is, again, Bungie's big MMO game before this, the actual animation work, like literally the knife toss here, I can absolutely recognize from Destiny right here. In fact, I would say a lot of animations were just copied over, which again, is not something surprising. One of my favorite game franchises, Yakuza, definitely does a lot of copy-paste, but for a video game that's, again, their brand new, or I guess revitalization of the IP now, in all but name, should actually have some new uniqueness to it, right? Like this feels, again, much more like a PS4 game. But I guess it's got that PS5 flair to it. And yes, if you're looking at it, the HUD, the actual movement, the gameplay is effectively just Destiny 2's PvP. Which, to be fair, I've also never been a big fan of, okay? When I played Destiny or Destiny 2, I always pretty much stayed out of the Crucible after that initial launch period when I felt like the game was just... It just felt really, like, incredibly difficult to actually compete with other players. Like, for me, it was just Vanguard strikes and doing the PvE content. But yeah, this is effectively the game that we've kind of been all waiting for. Bungie's new revitalization of an IP. Now, if you're looking at this again, it's not just Destiny. It's, again, in my opinion, the biggest problem with most of these, like, games in of itself. Now, this isn't a free-to-play game. In fact, I've tried to see if this is actually, like, a free launch, but it's not. This is actually, from what I understand, a paid-for experience. And the entire idea of it is you are just playing this video game to, again, lock up with your friends, go inside an area, grab a bunch of loot, and basically extract. Now, apparently there's about to be like 18 players in one zone, which, again, none of this truly excites me. It's literally not any different from most other extraction shooters that we've seen. Now, there are live streams one can watch, and again, just the user interface should show you exactly what to expect. You're jumping into a place to grab all of this loot, which then again you stash into your container and you bring into the next session of game. Okay, that's how an extraction shooter works. You find cool weapons in the world, you extract, and then you bring those weapons or that heightened loot to drop in, have a better advantage than hopefully all the other players in AI, and you use your superior loot to get even better loot, and then maybe complete like single player challenges or do like a special boss in the actual experience. If you've not played an extraction shooter, there's plenty of free stuff that's already out there. It is not a new industry to go into. In fact, if anything, it's mostly an offshoot nowadays from like battle royale stuff. But yeah, looking more into the actual game's like art style, which again could be debatable for anybody, but yeah, most of it is just dropping into areas. You appear to actually have what seems to be like hero abilities tossed into it. So whatever your character's like runner shell is going to be used for it. But yeah, it literally is just like a Destiny 1, Destiny 2 fucking reskin. And the thing is, like, this isn't so much of a shock to me. Like, knowing that this was going to be an extraction shooter from the beginning already fucking killed my hype anyways. But to see, like, how bland of a release this appears to be is just, honestly, that is probably the most shocking thing out there. And I know that a lot of people will be like, but Muda, don't you feel, Muda, that like you're being a little too negative about video games? It's not being too negative about video games. There's a lot of great video games that are out there. Hell, just last year, I put like probably 20 to 30 hours in a game known as System Shock. I know, totally different, like actual, gameplay genre, but a lot of games that come out are not actually bad. Even if that game was a remake, a lot of it was really built from the ground up to be modernized, something that actually, was a really good video game experience to jump into. What I've seen over here is not something that Bungie is really setting itself apart from. Like, the reality of what this is that this game A lot of people might say it will be dead on arrival or like, it might be a fail on launch. And honestly, there's a good chance that tons of people could be playing this for a short while. But everything that we've seen over here is nothing that's like super duper unique. If you've looked at just 10 seconds of the gameplay over here, you've already seen it compared to like not only previous games that Bungie has made, but literally every other fucking extraction shooter that's available. It's why I said like free to play was really smart if they had went that route, and they might still go that route depending on how things are presented. Because if this is another Concord situation where Sony feels they can charge people $60 for a game that literally you could experience for free right now through various other competitors, that will be what kills this game entirely on arrival. Now, honestly, the reason why I'm making this video, and I'm a little bit pissed about this too, is because like this game, I feel could have absolutely been a banger, okay? I would have looked so forward to this if Bungie had kind of went back to giving players some value. Like, dude, wouldn't it be wild to have like a single player campaign for a game that hasn't had a fucking release since 1998? This isn't even like, oh, they just took this really popular IP and slapped the fucking name onto it. Bro, no one playing video games now probably even knows about Marathon. In fact, I would say that the audience that plays extraction shooters, a grand majority of them, didn't fucking know Marathon was even a thing. It would have been the perfect time to go back to that Bungie single player like world, something that they cut their teeth on with Marathon, with Halo in the past, and bring that into a modern era for people to experience, like a fucking 8 to 10 hour FPS single player campaign that maybe could even teach you the mechanics of the online extraction stuff. Maybe have that 5v5 extraction, or not extraction, the actual multiplayer. And then this could be like the third game mode on top of it. Selling a game with just the extraction shooter game mode alone, in my opinion, is not going to cut it, okay? This would have been an amazing experience if Bungie had released this with some full-featured game modes, like back from the old days of Halo, right? You buy a game, you get a single-player campaign, you get that, focused competitive multiplayer, and then you get this extraction shooter stuff. Honestly, looking at a game like this, I hate to compare it to things like even Call of Duty, but when you buy like a COD game, you usually get like 3 full-on game modes. This is just a pure extraction shooter. And honestly, after like a couple matches, this may just be a game that gets completely boring, right? A lot of these games are built on playing them with your friends. And nowadays, with how fucking expensive everything has gotten, good luck trying to convince your friends to also jump on board and spend at, worst, $50 to get access to a video game that you might play for that one weekend or maybe the weekend after, okay? Especially in a slew of video games that not only compete with this on a toe-to-toe technical gameplay level, but those games are also $0 to jump into. This is just one example of a video game that I personally feel is going to basically fail on launch, especially considering that I think most Sony experiences that are online live service experiences are typically fucking DOA. I don't understand how a company that has had so many fucking L's with like online live service slop continues to fucking push out more of that online live service slop. Like, this would have been an amazing Sony IP if they had brought this over and just released a full single player, focused multiplayer, and then the extraction on top of it. Like, dude, that would have been no complaints from me. Like, I'm surprised that they are bringing this entire franchise back and not even giving like a little bit of love for single player. Maybe I'm just missing that good old fashioned Xbox 360 era, fucking play that 10-hour campaign with your friends on hard difficulty era. But goddamn, was it a much better era than the goddamn extraction shooter craze that we're in. Again, this is just another video game that feels like it's taking this old IP that most people don't even fucking remember that well, and just like using it to shit out another box standard extraction shooter, okay? Simple what it is. I know I've come across as like overly negative sometimes when it comes to like modern video games, but it really isn't like that, okay? This is just the one example of a video game where I kind of had some hope in it. I kind of wanted Bungie to really succeed, but I don't think this version of a game is going to be all that successful. I think based on what I've seen, it's nothing but just one of the most boring, box standard extraction shooter fares that I've seen and even played time and time again through the last year or two. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.